Yes, people, welcome back to Albert JTV. Friday night live. Match review time. Arsenal won, Sporting Lisbon won. Sporting Lisbon win 3-5 on penalties. But before we get into it, people, to dissect this match review, let's hit the intro. Footballing community, you should know what to do by now. Like, share, and subscribe. Welcome back to Albert JTV. Social media platform. Know what you're talking about. And what I mean by that is goals, ESR and Saka have done well. They've done okay. They've done well. Yes, people, welcome back to Albert JTV for a Europa League match review. Oh dear, it's got to be done, people. The evening after the evening before. Smash the like button, like I said, and subscribe to Albert JTV like you have done. So, people, let's get into it, man. Audio listeners, you might hear a somber, dulcet tone from Albert JTV, but it's understandable. Tough one to shake off, but you know we're gonna have to do it. The game's done now. We are out of Europe. In the last 16. I'm topsy-turvy game, man. Over both legs, to be fair. But yeah, let's get into it, man. People, when you do arrive, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, retweet on the Twitter page, and we'll dissect this, man. So listen, we obviously saw the first leg last week. Very open game. Arsenal made 6 changes, and you could kind of see in terms of the performance. I think we done well to get a 2-2 draw, to be honest with you. They had a big chance in the first leg to go from 2-1 to go to 3-1, but missed the opportunity to kill us off. But before I get into it more, let me go to the chat box quickly. Yes, G Talks is in there, man. Good evening, mate. Happy Friday, mate. Is it St. Patrick's Day, isn't it, for the Irish contingent? So happy St. Patrick's Day to a couple of brothers that I know Irish. Have a good one, man, because to get over from the night before. But yeah, listen, the first leg kind of set the tone really for what happened yesterday. 6 changes in the first leg. Yesterday we had 5 changes. Now I've got to be honest, right? Now I've seen a lot of to and fro on social media. Some people might say why is after the event. Some people might say in hindsight. Whatever way you want to look at it. I didn't have an issue with the team, actually, if I'm being honest. I didn't. I think if you ask a lot of Arsenal fans before that game, there was a lot of talk in terms of people want to see Ramsdale come back in goal. That happened. There were people even saying in regards to Bukayo Saka, the guy needs a rest. He didn't start the game. Some people wanted Jesus to start. I personally didn't. He did start. So there's factors to say whatever side of the coin you kind of said it, or what side of the fence you sit on. Listen, we had debates in terms of who we wanted to play and should have gone stronger, or was it strong enough, or was it, or whatever the permutations were. But I was pleased. I was more than pleased with the lineup, to be honest with you. Tomiyasu comes in for Ben White. We have our centre-back pairing in terms of Gabriel and Saliba. Zinchenko starts on left back. Ramsdale's coming. Jesus starts. Martinelli's in good goal-scoring form. So Nelson, more for the confidence for him to start more games, and Fabio Vieira starts as well. So even though he's obviously started in the first leg, but you know what I mean? I think Fabio Vieira last 3 out of 4 games he started, I believe. So I've said this before and I'll say it again, and I'll probably keep saying it to the end of the season. Arsenal can't rely on a core of 13, 14 players to get through the remainder of this season. They've done well to get to this point with the injuries that we've had. We've lost Partey at times, we've lost Zinchenko, and more notably, we've lost Gabriel Jesus for a long, long time, which I was surprised he actually started this. I've got to be honest. It was a serious injury that he had. He had got about 10 minutes against Fulham, 10, 15 minutes against Fulham. Surprised to see him start, to be honest. I expected him to get minutes, but I didn't think he would start. But let me go to chat quickly. Jenny, Jenny, number one supporter. Love you to bits. Thank you for tuning in on this Friday evening. Before I get some of the crowd in before the soap start on the Friday evening, I think the chaser just finishes now as well. Go to G. The team was well equipped to win that match. The players let MA down over both games were poor and they fully deserve to progress. Yeah, we'll touch on it, man. I don't think I'll be honest. I said this yesterday on the Armory with G's in the chat. And Gums, a big up to you guys, man. Like, I don't really think any. I didn't come across any Arsenal fans when the draw was made. We played Lisbon. That were like, oh, we're gonna spank them. We're gonna take care of business. Arsenal fans were very, very aware that this was not an easy opponent, and our fears were realised over both legs, especially yesterday at the Emirates. But yeah, I didn't see any Arsenal fan who were overconfident or cocky going into that last 16 tie over both legs. I didn't. I think they thought, you know what, the first leg was not great in a lot of phases, to be honest with you. But they got a chance to put it right if you play a bit of a stronger team. And, you know, like I said, Ramsdale came in for Matt Turner. I think that was the biggest one for a lot of people, and he came in. So, yeah, I was pleased with the lineup. But so we go to the match now. And they had two key players missing, by the way. Marita was missing and Sebastian Cortez was missing. So they had two key players missing themselves. But yeah, the first 15, 20 minutes, I thought Sporting Lisbon were the home team, to be honest. It was Arsenal for me, and it was a bit of a mirror image of the first leg. When you're playing in knockout football, and I'll keep on saying this till the cows come home and away, particularly away, but home and away, you've got to retain the ball a lot better. And the first half, in a lot of the first leg, sorry, was a bit of a horror show in terms of our possession. We was awful. We gave the ball away needlessly. But fair play to Sporting Lisbon. They started that match really, really well. Edwards was a danger. Paulino was a danger. You know, they kept the ball really, really well. And they looked really, really dangerous, to be fair to him. But obviously what Arsenal couldn't count on, and it does happen in football, we lose two defenders in 20 minutes. Tomiyasu overstretched, looked like a hammy or calf, maybe, possibly. And obviously we lose Saliba. But I think that was more precautionary from what I see. There was some discomfort in the back area, so better to take him off. But I do think that derailed Arsenal a little bit. It didn't help the fact that Sporting Lisbon started brilliantly. I thought they did. I thought their counter press was excellent. What they did was they targeted the space that Zinchenko would vacate when he plays in that more central inverted role. And they took advantage of that, to be honest, in the first 15, 20 minutes without actually scoring. And we got the goal against a run of play, man. If I'm being brutally honest, I didn't see us scoring after that first 15, 20 minutes. But what the goal did do is it settled Arsenal down. It absolutely settled them down, and they got a little bit more control. The runners were giving Sporting Lisbon all sorts of problems. They couldn't really cope for a little bit. And, you know, we think the goal's given us the ascendancy. Great finish, by the way. Fantastic ball by Jorginho. That's what you can do. They earmarked that in the first leg in terms of not giving him time in that deep lying role to play the killer passes, you know, to dissect the midfield and through to the front three. But that was a great pass through to Martinelli. It's blocked, and then it comes out to Xhaka, who finishes it really, really well. I actually think Xhaka should have more goals than he scored this season. I do. He's found himself in some great positions. Let me go to the chat quickly. You got Russ, thank you. Jen, I think Partey should have started though. Jenny, you know what? I'm not going to disagree with that. I don't think that's a hindsight thing. There were some Arsenal fans I spoke to. They did say they would have liked Arsenal to go quite strong. We've got one more game after the Palace game before a 2-week international break. We've got some players back, you know, before the injuries. Obviously, the first 20 minutes with Tomiyasu and Saliba. Go for the jugular, but respect the opposition, obviously, as well. Yeah, let me come to the chat quickly again. Audio listeners, you won't be forgotten. Just reading out some of the chats for the amazing people in the chat box that are commenting. As soon as the change from Jesus to Trust had happened, we lost all control and threat. I wouldn't even have started Jesus. I would have brought him on and assessed the situation that way. But listen, it's done now, unfortunately. Too many lapse passes. Jenny, I'm going to be honest, right? I'm not going to swear, but it really, really irked me, Arsenal, yesterday and in the first leg. And I touched on what G was saying because I agree with him. I thought the players let Mikel Arteta down yesterday. I do. I know you can talk about the lineup, you can talk about substitutions, you can talk about this player, that player. I thought the players let him down yesterday. Because one of the things for me is I've always said with the fringe players in the team, they've got to come to the forefront, man. Like before yesterday, potentially Arsenal have got 11 quarterfinal 2 legs, 2 semi-final 2 legs, 4 potentially 16, 17 games left. They need to come in and hit the ground running. Yes, they might not have had the minutes that they should have had, but they got to come and hit the ground running. So obviously Tommy Yasu's injured again. Fabio Vera, which I will touch on. People drop in the chat. I'm going to give you like a 5-10 minute warning in terms of when I'm going to wrap up, because I'm not going to do a long one. If you want to drop any questions in, I will answer them as best as I can, people. But yeah, I thought the players let him down. I do, over 2 legs. Because you literally, it's you go into games of football, you try to win the game, right? You brought the subs on, you started certain guys, you didn't start certain guys, you gave every opportunity for Arsenal to over 2 legs to get the job done, and they failed to do it. That's the long and short of it. And I mentioned it in the first leg. If Sporting had been a bit more clinical, we were in trouble coming into that game yesterday night because they had some very good chances. But yeah, Arsenal's passing. I couldn't believe what I was watching, man. Like they just, it almost became contagious. Zinchenko, and I get it. People talk about him being risk and reward. I understand that sentiment, but my issue is that when you're needlessly giving the ball away, and it's not forward passes, some of them. I mean, I don't even want to go back and re-watch the game because I won't do it anyway. But Zinchenko was giving away, Ben White was giving the ball away, Jorginho, Xhaka. It was throughout the team. Trossard, they all caught the bug. I think that's what the sickness bug was. Pass the ball to each other in the first leg and the second leg. It's unbelievable. Can't play like that in Europe. And let's be honest as well, man. Like, I think with Arsenal, right? I almost feel like in terms of Europe, yes, we've been in the Europa League the last few years, but in terms of the creme de la creme, in terms of the Champions League, we're almost going to have to start again. And what I mean by that is, it's like Arsenal are going to have to learn to walk before they can run, because they've got to get acclimatized to being at the top level European football. Because if we're coming up short, and this is no disrespect to Sporting Lisbon and the teams that are still left in it, because you've got teams like Donetsk, Sevilla, you've got Roma's in there with Jose Mourinho. You can imagine if he won, God, you want to hear the end of it. United is still there, Juventus is still there, but the level above in the Champions League is different. Kettle of fish. I'm not so much talking about your obvious, like your Madrids and your PSGs, but just we're gonna have to take baby steps again in terms of how we tackle that competition. I've heard people talking about the games every 3, 4 days. They're gonna have to get used to that. They will have to get used to that. And I not I fear for us. That's the wrong word, but I think Arsenal fans, if you have to be honest, we're gonna have to take baby steps when we get back into the higher echelons of Champions League football, because if we play like we played what I've seen in the last 2 games, and potentially even our Europa League campaign, because a lot of Arsenal fans have said it, it's not knee-jerk. They said, look, our Europa League campaign wasn't that great. We've come up against the one bit of quality that we came up against, and we're out. And a culmination of 2 things. The rotation didn't work over both legs. The players that come in who really stood up and was counted, you're scratching your head because you can't really come up with a couple of people in terms of the fringe players I'm talking about. Let me come to the chat quickly. Jenny said something else. Strong start team every time. You heard it here, people, from Jenny Hoggs. She's right. Sporting was strong against boys, and yeah, you know what? It almost, watching that match, it was almost a case of not everything was going against Arsenal, but there were certain things that were happening during the game. I thought this might not be our night, even to the point of the coin toss for the penalties. Need I say more? Um, and I got to be honest, even with one thing when it comes to penalties, whether not even just if it's Arsenal, but when you watch football generally, if you do your bit of homework about goalkeepers, you're like, as much as we hate Emi Martinez, he's a good penalty. He's a good penalty shot. He's a good penalty stopper. But there's some goalkeepers that just don't save penalties. I mean, De Gea hasn't got a fantastic record against for penalties. I don't believe. Hugo Lloris, for example, is not great with penalties. Ramsdale, from what I understood, didn't particularly have a fantastic penalty record. But yeah, the second half, man, I thought it was a repeat of the first half. We just they came out of the blocks again. They what they did was they counter pressed us brilliantly. We was poor, particularly in the central areas of the pitch, which we still kept giving the ball away. And to be honest, when they scored, it wasn't a shock. The type of goal it was a bit of a shock. It was an unbelievable goal from Pedro. Is it Pedro Convalles? Is that you say his name? Incredible strike, man. I was like, wow. But if you actually with the goal before they actually scored it, we gave the ball away in the central areas of the midfield area. I think it was Jorginho between Jorginho and Xhaka, if I've got that right, people in the chat, and listening to us audio. But yeah, we gave the ball away again, and we got punished with an absolutely fantastic goal. It's incredible. What a strike! What a strike! And when you can score a goal like that in a game, it stuns the crowd, the players. The fans at the Emirates have been amazing this season, but even with a goal like that, you're like, wow, take a bow, son, as Andy Gray normally says. But yeah, what a goal! And it was game on, man. It really, really was. There were moments in that second half where I kind of feared for us because we didn't get any momentum apart from when we got the goal in the first half. And sort of later on in terms of I'll get to extra time a little bit later, but he made the subs. He brought on Partey and he brought on Saka. And if I'm being brutally honest, I don't think that even changed the game at all. I thought we were still under the cosh because we wasn't retaining the ball well. We couldn't get Saka in the game. Thomas Partey tried and brought a little bit of stability, but we was just, to me, we looked all over the place. And it doesn't help when you recycle the ball back and you give it back straight to the opposition, who technically are a very good team. I think there was if I got that right, I think that they was unbeaten in 7 in all comps. Sporting Lisbon before that game last night. So they weren't no mugs, and they showed why. Strong centre back pairing, tough in the tackle, cause us no end of issues. And yeah, we made from few subs, and I don't know, with subs, it's a kind of thing of you want to make subs, but you want them to make an impact. But I think the only one that did make an impact really was till we got in extra time with Odegaard. He came on and gave us a little bit more bite, man, a little bit more control, getting us on the front foot. But it's like I said before. I mean, for me, the only substitution I would have rather have had how that game actually panned out. And I know hindsight's a beautiful thing, but I did say I didn't want Jesus to start the match. I would have brought him on, and he would have been ideal to have brought on in that situation the way the game was going for Arsenal. Because, like I said, Ramsdale made a massive save from Edwards when he smacked him right in the chops, man. It was a brilliant save, actually. You probably didn't know too much about it, but it was a brilliant save. So yeah, but I think the only time we actually looked like we might be a little bit threatening was in extra time. And even Sporting Lisbon even gave us a chance, gift wrapped, to get back ahead at 2-1 with Trossard. I actually fancied Trossard to score. I did, when he with the mistake from the striker. I think it was on the midfield player for Sporting Lisbon, passes it back. It's like a great through ball to Trossard, but yeah, it was just didn't score, hit the post, unfortunately. But yeah, it was. I didn't feel comfortable at any point watching that match. To be honest, it was a tough watch. And yeah, listen, it kind of goes back to what I say about Arsenal's European record, man. Us as Gooners, there's many of us in the chat box, and me doing this as a stream where we supported Arsenal during different parts of our lives, depending on our age, and we ain't seen too much success when it comes to Europe. We haven't. We haven't. We've lost a lot of finals. What's that? Zaragoza, 95 Cup Winners' Cup final. Europa League final against Chelsea, Emery's first season. Champions League final, and obviously we lost UEFA Cup on penalties to Galatasaray. Yeah, 4 finals, man. It's not great. Not great return. And the last 16 yesterday. So yeah, mad. But let me come to the chat quickly. G, what's he saying, mate? I always thought it was going to be Adnan tonight. Sporting goalkeeper was immense over to. He was. He made a couple of saves, actually. I think it was from Gabriel. Had some fantastic headers. Great saves from the goalkeeper. Yeah, going a little bit off subject, people. Remember, yeah, we saw the news come through this morning. Patrick Vieira has been sacked. I see people talk about new manager bounce. I'm gonna touch on that. I think some Arsenal fans need to just go and enjoy their Friday and just relax a little bit. Because I'll be pretty shocked if Palace manage to get a new manager in from now before the game on Sunday. I don't think that's going to happen personally. They'll have a caretaker in charge, but yeah, you're right, G, about the goalkeeper for Sport Lisbon. He was outstanding. To be fair to him, outstanding. So, and I've got to be honest, when it went to penalties, I don't know. I think a culmination of things went through my head. To be honest, was I confident? Not really, not sure. And like I said, it came back down to me to how confident are you in your goalkeepers to make penalty saves? And like I said, we lost the coin toss where the Sporting Lisbon fans were. Yeah, and obviously they won the toss to choose the end, and they won the toss to see who's going to go first. And yeah, you always want to in a penalty shootout, you want to be the team to go first. Trust me. To put the pressure on the opposition team. But yeah, unfortunately, our young Brazilian starlet was the one that missed the quite decisive penalty. I always say to right footers, right, if you're gonna go to a goalkeeper's left, you got to make sure that ball is hitting the side netting, not all the top bins. You've got to hit it really, really accurately because you remember you're taking a run up and you're hitting the ball in a way where it's almost kind of curving towards the goalkeeper, and that's what happened with the penalty. It's not that he didn't strike it well; it just the accuracy was not good. It was not far enough. If you see, you can even see on the still image now. All the listeners have got still image of the penalty save from Adnan from Martinelli. It wasn't anywhere near the corner, and that was a crucial penalty miss. It's different if you miss your penalty on early. You still got a little bit of time to try and rectify it, but I'm going to be honest. I thought Aaron Ramsdale should have saved 2 of the penalties. He actually went the right way on most of them. But yeah, to me, 2 of the penalties he should have saved. There's one where he got both hands on it, which I thought he did save, and then there was one when he went the right way and he dived over it. I was like, oh my god, Rambo. But yeah, heartache, man. We're out, people. I'm gonna do another 2 or 3 minutes. If you want to drop many questions in, people, get them in ASAP. My Tottenham wife has decided to show up in the chat. I did see her come up. Where's she gone now? Where's she gone? You know what, Holly? You've been quite polite actually to me since last night because I haven't heard from you. Maybe he's been busy at work, or you thought, you know what, I'm gonna leave my Arsenal husband alone and not bother him too much. But yeah, Holly, it takes a lot for me to get riled up by Arsenal, man. But it's one of the things when you're going for a league title. You know, it's easy to say no. I see a lot of Arsenal fans saying, you know, it probably is a blessing in disguise. It didn't feel like that last night after the game. It probably don't feel like that now today. I think by the time the Palace game comes around, And if we do our business, we do our job. Listen, Palace are on free for all. Like I said, like Jenny's mentioned, Patrick Vieira got sacked today, this morning. I don't think they've won this year in 2023. Was that 12 games, is it? In all comps or in the league? I'm not too sure. They scored 9 goals away from home. 9. I think Martin Odegaard's got more than that. He has. He's got double figures. So Palace are a free for all, man. They are. They're not in a good vein of form, but Arsenal need to take advantage of that. They do. Yes, Palace have got some danger players in there, danger men in there, but Arsenal need to take care of business and hammer home, how well we've done in the first 20, 25 minutes of the game. But yeah, the injuries are a concern, man. Look, one thing I was happy with when we played Fulham is when I looked at the bench. I thought, yes, ESR's there, Jesus is there, Tomiyasu's there, Tierney's there. Strong bench, but then all it takes is a couple of injuries, man, and it's problems. I mean, Tomiyasu left the ground on crutches, so that would tell me he's not going to be ready anytime soon, and it's going to depend on the prognosis for his injury. But I don't know if you guys in chat have heard anything, but Saliba, hopefully it's not too bad. It said, I think Mikel Arteta said Eddie's a couple of weeks away, in the press conference before the game. So yeah, we've got injuries at the wrong time, man. We need to hope they're not as serious as Tommy looks quite serious. He does look quite serious. So that's not great. But listen, these guys have come to the forefront. Fabio Vieira, I thought was poor yesterday. I thought he was poor. This is nothing to do with people go to the go-to thing with him is to say, oh, it's the physique and he needs to go to the gym. It wasn't that for me yesterday. For me, there was parts of the game yesterday I forgot he was playing because it just giving the ball away. Like I said, he started 3 out of the 4 last 4. So you thought he'd have been chomping at the bit. I'm not. Listen, there's Arsenal fans that are on our social media platforms that will go in on players, but listen, like I said, the same energy you've shown to the manager is getting behind him. Do it with some of the players as well. But yeah, Vieira didn't impress me yesterday at all. To be honest, he didn't. I thought he gave the ball away needlessly, like a lot of them did yesterday, unfortunately. But people, I just want to say before I wrap up, smash the like button and subscribe to Albert J TV. Retweet on Facebook, share and retweet on Twitter, and smash the like button on YouTube, like I said. But what I do want to say is a massive thank you, even though the result was very disappointing yesterday. Probably not for Holly in the chat, but yeah, I had the opportunity to go on as a guest on BBC 5 Live Sport, the Football Daily. Yeah, really, really surreal experience, man. I like the podcast, I've got to be honest. Big fan of the Monday Night Club with Mark Chapman and Mika Richards and Rory Smith and Chris Sutton. So yeah, to get an opportunity to go and do that for even despite how disappointing the result was very, very humbling. I have to be honest, because yeah, if someone said to me back in June 9th, 2020, and today, what, the 17th of March 2023, you're going to be on BBC 5 Live Sport, talking to Aaron Paul and the likes of Vicky Sparks and Mark Schultz from the background, I would have laughed at you. But yeah, listen, the hard work continues, the grind doesn't stop. Get my name out there, give my forthright views, with a little bit of common sense. But no, I just say a big thank you to you guys, man, for this fantastic messages support last night and when you saw or listened to it. If you have listened to it, go and listen to it. It's not long. I think I was on for about 2.5 minutes. But yes, it's tough to speak straight after penalties, and it literally was straight afterwards that I got through to speak on 5 Live Sport. But yeah, really, really surreal moment, man. It's kind of a bit of a pinch myself moment. So like I said, the hard work continues, and big up Aaron Paul and also BBC 5 Live, and also same on Arsenal. Thank you for the shout out. It is more than appreciated. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. But no, let me come to chat quickly before I log off. Thumbs up from Jenny. G, thank you, my bro. Yeah, thank you, man. It was a really, really, really surreal moment, man. It was, I gotta be honest. Even in the midst of losing that game, that's tough. That's a tough one, man, to take. Bitter pill to swallow. Thank you, Jenny. Appreciate it. People, yeah, that's Match review over and out. It's done, man. We've got a game. I'll be there for Palace on Sunday. I will be going to that game. I guess we don't have to worry about fixture pile up or congestion in it, because obviously if we'd have won yesterday, they would have moved the Southampton game from Friday night football to Sunday afternoon. But because we're out now, that game's going to be on, and I think it's an 8 p.m. kickoff on Friday. I think that game's going to be live on Sky Sports. But yeah, Arsenal to bounce back quickly. Listen, Arsenal have had multiple tests this season. We need to pick Martinelli up off the floor. They will do. There's a great team camaraderie there and a spirit, and they'll pull him through. They'll pull him through. He's in a good rich vein of form, Martinelli. But yeah, it's disappointing to lose where you're doing. You missed the penalty that your team goes out, but it's football. It happens. It's not uncommon. But yeah, people, that is Albert JTV over and out. If I can find my outro, there it is, people. Audio listeners, you will hear my dulcet tones for this review and for further more reviews and the rest of it. 11 Cup finals to go, people, as they keep telling us. Let's go and get the job done. Albert JTV over and out, people.